All right, welcome to my module 2, the miracle of sperm. I want to talk about our precious seed today in this one because it has such an amazing capacity. Our sperm is really having a miracle with it, and I'm sure you heard about NoFap, right? And stories about NoFap, like maybe you tried it as well, like no masturbation, no porn. I definitely agree with the no porn aspect of it. But in Tantra, we do masturbation in a tantric way where we don't lose our sperm. So here's a golden homework for you. Do your masturbations, but end them without ejaculation, okay? And of course, no porn, no imagination, no fantasy, maybe just a little bit just to start with erection, but then stay with your body, be with your body. We're gonna go through these practices as well. But the golden rule, the golden thing here is that sperm is very, very, very important. And I want to go into the background of it a little bit. And that's why is it so important? Because if you catch a hold of your sperm, it's not just going to boost your sexual life. It's not just going to give you orgasms, multiple orgasms, and your partner orgasms with your not ejaculating. You will also be super strong with your physicality. It will boost your mental capacities, your willpower, your spirituality, your meditation. If you are meditating, your meditations will get better. There are tons of benefits of sperm retention. It's an ancient biohack. I think it's an ancient, very ancient biohack, especially for men. And there's a term in the yogic tradition, Brahmacharya, which means, it's two words. Brahma is the creative force. It's like the God, the divine creative force. And Acharya is like catch a hold of it, like control it or discipline it or keep it under control. So, and what is the Brahma in a man is of course the sperm, because we can give life. We are creating life with our sperm, right? So that has an amazing capacity, and it's a good idea to not waste it, not consume it all the time. Do it wisely and have an economy of sperm. That's what I tell to my coaches, my clients, sorry. So Brahmacharya, unfortunately, is perceived as celibacy in most of the yogic traditions. Like if you go to a serious yoga ashram, like a yoga community in India, or it could be in the West too, most of these communities will say, oh, if you want to be serious in spirituality, you have to have Brahmacharya. It's a very ancient rule in the yogic tradition. It's coming from Patanjali 2,500 years ago. He wrote the Yoga Sutras. And this is one of the main suggestions there, Brahmacharya. But how do you understand Brahmacharya can change from which perspective you're looking at it. So the yogics will say no sex at all. Like don't have sex with your partner, don't have masturbation, nothing. But the tantrics have come up with a different way of Brahmacharya. Before going into that, I want to give this another perspective from the Indian culture. I think still there are Brahmacharis in the Indian culture, and these are young people who are studying until 25 years old and having no sex in this time frame. They're completely single, they're celibate, they are spending the best years of their life just study something and learn something and get better at something and become super successful. And then have a wife and have children. And they are really very successful. And you can see this in the Indian culture, or in the Indian, Pakistani cultures. You can still see very successful families there, maybe not officially talking about these things, but unofficially it's in the culture somehow. And you can see they're really bright people. They become amazingly successful. So, and one of the example is from the Western world, Sir Isaac Newton. He didn't know anything about yoga. He didn't know anything about Brahmacharya. Probably because he was living in a conservative society, or maybe he wasn't handsome. I don't know why, but he didn't have a wife, which also means he didn't have sex. And Isaac Newton is one of the most famous physicists in the history of humankind. And he's quite clever, right? He's quite bright. And he never had a wife. He died as a single man. Albert Einstein. When he was young, he came up with the theory of relativity. When he was old, he was much more knowledgeable. He knew much more. but he didn't come up with such a bright theory because the energy in his brain was much higher. So all these neurons communicating with each other with this intense energy, and that comes from youthfulness, and that's actually coming from the sperm. The more he ejaculates, he had a wife, so he was married. At some point, this energy starts to diminish, and although his experience is increasing, his energy level is decreasing. So when he was young, he had much more energy, but much less experience, but he was more successful. So basically, the more creative force we have in our being, the more sperm energy we have, the more creative we can get. And if you practice these things, if you give the chance to ejaculate less, maybe you tried nofap, as I said, maybe you didn't, but give it a chance. And here in Tantra, we are more relaxed. You can still masturbate, and in this way, keeping your sperm. In the Tibetan culture, there's a term called Bodhichitta, and that is Buddha's mind. Like having compassion, you're not reactive if you have Buddha's mind. You're coming out of the suffering. Life is a suffering in the Buddhist understanding. Like you come out of the reincarnation cycles, you have a Buddha mind. But bodhicitta also means the sperm. So if you have sperm, you have a potential to have a Buddha mind. But if you're losing your sperm all the time, you don't have it. So when you're on the street in traffic, you get agitated. When you're with your woman, you become reactive. Like these things mean that you are losing your Buddha mind, you're losing your compassion, you're losing your balance, you're losing your spirit in a way, because you're losing your sperm very, very often. So this is not recommended in many different ways. And in Tantra, it's like Aikido, it's like Judo. You still have sex, but don't lose this energy. So you have orgasm without ejaculating. How is that possible? It's not very easy, but I'm going to teach you everything that I know in this direction. But I want to come back to why sperm is so important. So Patanjali, this guy who came up with these yoga sutras long time ago, he says that when you practice Brahmacharya perfectly, like sperm retention perfectly, you will become a virya. You will attain the great virya. And virya means efficient power or virility. So basically it means that you become very effective and productive. So if you are a CEO, if you are an A-game player, or if you are an athlete, like you want to be full-on professional or something like you want to become the best of the best, you have to keep your sperm with you. And you can even see it in the football culture. You know, like if there's a very big game, that night the coach forbids to have sex. The wives are gone. There's no sex. That night, at least one night, the last night, you don't do it. So and even Rocky Balboa, in this movie that he is training this young guy, he's saying, tomorrow you have a match, please don't have sex. And the girlfriend is also there, you know, he's smiling. It's not good for the legs, you know. It's not good for the legs. So don't ejaculate tonight, man. You have a match tomorrow. So if you extend these periods, you can become even more successful in these things. If you, instead of one night, if you do it 7 nights, you're gonna have even more strength and willpower and endurance and whatever you're looking for. If you can do it 1 month, then it's a total game changer. If you can do it 2 months, 3 months, the more you can do it, the more the benefits are accumulating. So when you conserve sexual energy, you'll have all the power to fulfill your dreams and goals. You will have mental creativity, and you can be a game player, basically. Your sperm also nurtures your brain. That's why. That's the real secret of anti-aging, according to ancient yogis and tantrics. Taoists as well, the Chinese. They ejaculate as less as possible, maybe just for procreation or never. So I would advise you to take a test. Make an experiment with me, okay? And if you're in your 20s, don't ejaculate for 3 weeks, if you can, if it's possible. Maybe you have a partner, maybe she's horny with you all the time, and it's not possible. Try. Maybe you can convince her, maybe you just, I want to have this experience. I want to have this experiment. If you don't have a partner, don't ejaculate, don't masturbate, don't go try to have one-night stands or something like that. 3 weeks. Give it a time. If you're in your 30s, this accumulation of this strong energy can take a little bit of more time. So if you're in your 30s, I would recommend around 5 weeks. If you're in your 40s, 7 weeks. If you're in your 50s, you figure it will go 9 weeks, and so on and so forth. So give yourself this time and don't ejaculate, and write down how you're feeling. Take a note. You can write day by day. You can write every 1 or 2, 3 days. You can write once a week, and just observe any different feelings. What is increased? Maybe you're getting up better. Your sleep has improved. Maybe your fitness performance improved. Maybe you can focus your mind in a better way. Maybe you can fast more easily. And also after that, if you are willing to do it, you don't have to do it. Maybe this experiment will convince you that it's really good. It's really good to keep your sperm as long as you can. And don't ejaculate often. And keep it an average. Like, don't say, okay, I didn't ejaculate for 3 weeks, now I can ejaculate 3 times in 1 day. Don't do that. Again, try to keep as long as possible. And over the long term, it's going to change your life dramatically. I promise you, man. I promise you. So, of course, there's a very major problem that comes with it is the blue ball syndrome. You're going to have pain in your testicles because this sperm, they are stimulated, and after some time, and if you masturbate, it's even worse, and don't ejaculate in the end, this sperm, they go back to the testicles, and they're like crazy guys in the jail, like testosterone guys, like, I want to get out of here, like, I want to get out, I want to ejaculate. But, and it will create pain. It will create really bad pain. So in Tantra, we have a technique to move the energy up, okay? In the following modules, I'm going to teach you this technique. It's the number 1 technique to move the energy up, okay? Everybody talk about moving the energy, and even some tantric masters and coaches, they don't teach you such strong techniques. So if you do this technique only for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you will immediately get rid of the blue ball syndrome, get rid of the pain in your testicles. So don't worry about that, okay? So by the time you come to that point, like not ejaculating 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, probably if you continue this course, you're going to learn that technique and everything will catch up nicely. All right? So whatever your level of fitness, health, or productivity are, you can at least double or triple it through sperm retention. Okay, you can be a great businessman. You can be a great student or athlete. You can even get better with your sperm retention, and of course, it's going to make you more attractive, more magnetic, and your sexual performance and intimate life will definitely improve. I'll see you in the next one.